at doing here. I started with a modular board, 2x2 tiles. After playing on this board for over 2 years, I'm kind of getting tired of the seams not matching up perfectly and causing little ledges, and we can never get them perfectly flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to go take another 8x4 sheet of polystyrene that's 2 inches thick, and we are going to cut off 2 feet of it and put it on the end, so that we basically essentially are making another 6x6 board, but with no seams. It's just going to be one solid board, because I came to find that really we never take the board down, so there's really no use for the 2x2 tiles. I'll probably sell them at some point. But now if you're living in an apartment or you have limited space and you need to take the board down frequently and stack them up, this probably would be a good way to go for you. But I would not use the wood trim, as you see here. The wood trim was really difficult to deal with, and that's been stained and everything. So I put a lot of time into making those look like that. It's really not worth the effort, and putting the sand over up to the edges was really a lot of work. It took a lot of time to get it right. So we'll come over here in the other end of my workshop, which currently is the basement. That's my office for my business. But you can see here, this is a 40K board that I did. It was a board that's for it's a static board, so to speak. It's not modular, so it's really kind of set around a mining camp. It's really fun to play on. There's little caves, there's mining caves, there's all kinds of features to the board that are really cool. But you can see that on this board I used the fiber tape with Elmer's glue, and then when that's all nice and dry, I paint it black, and you can see it gives it a really nice contrast to the rest of the board. And here's my painting area, of course, where I paint and build. And I'll show you the fiber tape. I think I've got some spare tape here. Here's a roll that I haven't used all of it. I need to get this out and use it up for this project. But I have it's adhesive on one side, so it's really nice. It's not exactly 2 inches. It's 1 7/8. Here in the U.S. it's fiber tape. I don't know, it's like $6-7 for a roll. And then at most hardware stores you can purchase Elmer's glue by the gallon. Now you can water this down. The Elmer's glue watered down in a spray bottle, and that's how I accomplished the sand. And then while the sand was still wet with glue, I sprinkled the flock on. So you see it gives a really nice effect. Now I haven't completely decided whether I'm going to stick with sand. The problem with sand is, even with the flocking, it is kind of abrasive. The dice still roll really well on it, so I'm kind of torn. I'm thinking about using a brown paint and then the flocking on top of this new board, so that we really get that foam, that nice soft foam cushioning for rolling the dice on, which is really nice for this other board. Now this other board, the 4x4 board, it also has sand. So I did sand on it, but I did a different procedure where I got the sand really, really wet, so it really melded into the foam board. But you can see this is all cut out of foam board, and making the ladders and the crossing points, which we had to add some more so we can add another dimension to the game. So there's like basically 2 levels to the board. So it's really fun to play on. It's great for little skirmish games. It'd be great for Infinity, any 28mm game. But yeah, I mean, that's what I'm just going to have to decide here over the next day or so. Maybe I'll do a light coating of sand, because you can see there are little imperfections on this foam board, which I don't think foam and paint are going to hide that. So I think if I do a light coating of sand and flock and I use a lot of Elmer's glue to make sure that that sand is really hard. Now, it was definitely hard on this board, don't get me wrong. It's really solid, but if you really load up the glue and it takes several days to dry, it really gives us a smoother texture. Where this has, I don't know if you can see, it's got a little bit rougher texture. And you know, some folks that have played on this really like that because it really does look realistic. So it's something I'm just going to have to think about. But the other thing I'm going to do on this board is when I cut the 2-foot section on and attach it to the other side, I'm also going to glue it with dowel rods as a way of making sure that it's really solid when we make the joint. So when I glue along this side, I'm going to drill just little guide holes, and we'll put sections of dowel rods that will actually help hold the board together so it's nice and firm. Because like I said, I'm getting away from this the seams, and you can see the seams, you can never get them perfect. We've got towels and some camouflage blankets that we've put under here to help stabilize the board, and I would recommend that if you do a modular board like this, or even a solid board. These really help hold the board in place and help cushion it so it's nice and flat. It's a nice little trick. It's cheap little blankets you can pick up at Walmart or Target. So that's basically it. I'll make a few short little videos we can put up as I build this board, the new 6x6 board. Now the other nice thing about this is I've always wanted to do a D-Day invasion. I can still always do another 6-foot section, 6-foot by 2-foot section as a beachhead, and just modulate it to the side. Don't glue it on or anything, and just slide it to the side if we ever down the road wanted to do the D&D invasion for Flames of War. We can still do that. It just won't be attached to this board, which is fine, because you don't always want to play a beach invasion. So it gives you that flexibility. You can still attach other sections onto the side. We could even look at possibly magnetizing it as another option. So cheers for now, and I wanted to show you guys something I just kind of stumbled on that really helps the edges, protects the edges. It's easy to do. You put the fiber tape on, it's adhesive, then you get a cheap brush and just brush on the Elmer's glue over the fiber tape, let it dry, and it forms a really nice hard shell that really protects the edges of the boards from scuffing and chipping. So you can just literally just put them up against the wall as you build. I can't see it needing more than 2 or 3 boards. You can do maybe an earth board. You could do a sand board for like desert games. I guess you could do an aquatic board with ocean areas all over the board. But beyond that, I think that's about the only board you need to build. Cheers.